Hey, welcome to my channel where I'm building a RANS S21. In this episode I attached the wings. There's an awful lot of work prior to attaching the wings on doing the wing tips, and then the final work on installing the wing tips is done after the wings are attached. So I'm going to do the wing tips as a separate video. That'll be my next video. So even though there's a lot of work that went into them up to now, it's not included in this video. I'm going to start this video with a quick document of my installation of the RANS AD on the fuel tank support. They sent out an AD a while ago that the tanks need some extra support to keep them from shifting. So I quickly do that, but Eddie Gill from RANS does a video on that. It's at the end of the wing section of the RANS videos, and he does a nice job explaining it, so there's no reason for me to repeat everything he's done. So I do a very quick recap, and then the rest of it's attaching the wings. So with that, let's jump into attaching the wings. So it looks like the next step before I put the elevator on is I've got to get this stabilizer shimmed and adjusted, and that's done after the wings are on. So I think I get the wings on, and then I adjust the stabilizer, and then I put the elevator on. So that's the order of work. Before I put the wings on, there's two things I need to complete. There was an airworthiness directive, number 142, put out by RANS for a shifting fuel tank. So they sent a fix for it, some parts that you put in to secure the wing tanks. The other thing I need to do is I need to do the wing tips. The manual says have the wing tips completed before you put the wings on. They're not going to be installed when you put the wings on, but they need to be completed while it's on the ground. So I've got to get those two things done. So I'm going to start with the AD for the fuel tank. Eddie Gill from RANS does a nice video on this AD procedure, so I'm not going to include that in my content. The only thing is the inspection door is the aft door, the rectangular one. And then the measurements are right off of that, and you're using these rivets up here to determine your hole location. Okay, tank support done. If you look in there, there's a support bar that blocks the tank. The other one goes up against the aft spar, and you're left with a couple rows of rivets, and that's it. Pretty simple. I got this idea from Derek, and it made a lot of sense for measuring accurately. You know how you have to measure the distance, they say, from the aft side up to the center of this hole, and then you add the 3/8 for this doubler down here. Once you get that distance, mine turned out to be 46, and then I added the 3/8 to make it 46 and 3/8. I took a piece of angle iron that I had, drilled a hole in here, marked the exact middle of this hole, and then mark the 46 and 3/8 on the bar, and that gets the measure. If I put a tape measure up here, you know, the end of the tape measure's got a little bit of wobble in it. It's hard to get exact. So this helped me measure it right to the T, and I'll get this T-bone cut right at that 46 and 3/8. The next step is to measure this inside distance between here and here, and from the back, you're going to measure to here and then cut. It's right up against this weld, but I have a little bit of space. My initial cut, and I sanded it smooth, is it's just a little bit long. So the first fit might be a little bit tight, but that'll give me a little room to sand if I need to. And then this needs to get bored out to the 3/8 to fit the 5/16 bolt. Part of the process is to get the struts set up. So I've attached the strut to get the hardware and the bolts kind of lined up with what I need. And I noticed that the strut is not cut straight across, it's at an angle. And this the way it's open doesn't make sense. So This obviously is on the wrong end. The end and the supports, the doublers and everything are the same on both ends. But if I reverse that hardware to here and reverse the strut around, then the angle is going to be like this rather than like that, which makes sense. So I got to reverse that hardware. The other thing I noticed is I set these bolts in, and usually you've got your nuts on the bottom, bolts coming down, facing down. But in the manual pages, it's got the bolts coming up with the nut on the back, the top side. So a little opposite of what protocol is, but that's what the manual calls for. Okay, this is take one of putting the wings up. So, I think if I stand on this side of the strut, you ready to mix that? What's that? Can we mix that? Are you ready? I'm ready. Ready? Go. Okay, how we doing? I'm good. I'm good here. There, Bob? I'm gonna set this on my shoulder. Yep.
Now when you're gonna tell me in.
Yeah.
We have heat cables as we go.
Yeah, I think we pull from the other side. Yeah. Want me to get there? And...
There you gotta lift the front.
Well, that's what I'm not sure what to do. Say up, down, back.
So coming into the
Back. We're gonna do the rear first. Okay. So
that was
go that way.
How are we looking?
Better. The battery went dead on the final effort. We had to put the wing up 2 additional times to get that T-bone exactly cut straight. Had 3 helpers with me. It took a while. The bolts didn't go straight in. We tapped and played and moved and jiggled and finally got the left wing in. So the left wing is done. I've got to check bolt tightments. We torqued everything, but I'm going to do one more check. And obviously the wingtip still has to get done with the wiring there, but it's on. Now on to the right wing. Well, I remember my sound problem with the wind last time, so I'm going to head inside. Like a dummy, I forgot to turn the camera on as we put the second wing on. Had a little bit of trouble with the T-bone up here. I cut it a little bit long originally, so we had to take the wing up, down, and I didn't want to take too much off. And we put it up, had to take a little more off, down. So that took a little bit of time putting the wing up and down. Had 3 guys holding the wing, so it was 4 of us all together. I'd recommend using 4, but everything went on well. It fit well. I'm going to move in just in case that wind is cutting my sound out. So wings are on. The next thing I'm doing is I'm putting in my Pitot tube. This is the Garmin tube. One of my previous videos I do where I build the Garmin tube and I build the RANS tube. The Garmin tube being a better product. So I just put the mount in. That's just held in by 4 screws. And then this is the balance of the tube. I've got some connectors up here for the tubes, and then a connector here for the electrical, because this is heated, so you need to have an electrical run to the panel. And this is what the final install looks like. Okay, well, that section took 19 hours. Seems like a long time. The actual installing the wings probably took, I don't know, half an hour per wing. So I'm thinking, where was the rest of that time? But it was in preparing all the hardware. I did some landing light work, ran some wires. I had to retorque everything, go back and check. We had the wing on and off. Each time the guys came out telling me the wings, it was like 3 hours of cutting those T-bones and getting it all. So it added up to 19 hours, which kind of surprised me. But they're on, and I'm happy with that. And the next video will be the wingtips, which again was a fairly lengthy process, and probably one of the more difficult processes of the build that I've found so far, but I'll cover that in the next video. So with that, thanks for watching, and remember, dream it, just build it.